Coming right up is Brawling News number 138. It's an all-wrestling edition of Brawling News, and we're going to talk about the passing of Paul Bearer. We're also going to talk about Rey Mysterio and his bummed-up knee and his other problems he has at home. We're going to talk about Hulk Hogan and Steve Austin's new reality shows. No, not together, two separate reality shows. And we're going to finish it up with Tara from TNA and her brand new pizza place that she's opening up in the city of Chicago. It's more interesting than I'm making it sound. All that and more coming right up.
Alternate Reality now opens at 10:30 instead of 11 on Sundays. There's like half an hour sleep over this, and so you guys better show up.
I'm not really sure what kind of information one gets from two guys beating the snot out of each other. Let's find out together. It's Brawlin' News, a comic book man info.
We all know it's going to come down to the last man standing. What if it's one of these two? Brawling News, episode 138, Crapaholic.
Hey folks, Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video outhouse. Bo!
Yes?
Why are we here?
It's Brawling time!
Oh,
Kate.
Brawling News! Brawling News, which is coming to you from
Brawling
this place,
time.
Alternate Reality, which is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, where all my new comics are always 15% off every day for everyone. This, as I mentioned at the top, is an all-wrestling edition of Wrestling News, and we're going to start off with the passing of one of the greats of professional wrestling.
William Moody, a.k.a. Paul Bearer, a.k.a. Percy Pringle, passed away at the age of 58 this week. He's going to be 59 actually next month, possibly due to a blood clot. He's been feeling relatively poorly for a while now. For people who've been watching him, he made his WWE debut in 1991. Before that, he was in Jerry Lawler's Memphis territory as Percy Pringle. He was the mentor of The Undertaker. He was the father of Kane. And the last time we saw him, I think he was being sealed alive in a casket or something like that. But
well, that was the fight with the Dudleys.
Yeah, the Dudleys
where they poured concrete on him.
And the Undertaker basically.
I still don't know how they got out of there.
Did he actually wrestle?
No,
really.
He took some bumps, but he never wrestled.
He took bumps. He never wrestled. He didn't exactly have the best body. At one point, Moody was really portly. He was very, very portly. He lost weight and he actually got better. He's been on a WWE Legends contract for quite some time, but he was blowing off convention appearances. His last face post thing was on March the 5th. He was getting smaller. They said he was having trouble coughing at a recent convention. He wasn't moving around very well, and he finally passed possibly due to the blood clot.
Yeah, the day he died, I noticed that what he died of was absent from all of the obituaries and all the news notices. They talked about his career and his life and that he had died, but why he died wasn't on there anywhere.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I think he's going to be buried relatively soon. There's no autopsy report as of yet, but he knows he went to a doctor. He said he went to one of the Cauliflower Alley convention things, and he went to the hospital, and they told him he had a blood clot. It may have been his lungs, it might have been his leg, it could have been anywhere. But I think the fact that at one point he was well past the 300-pound point, and then he got himself down to the 260s, 270s, and then he started ballooning back up. It's not exactly healthy for you long term.
No, you mentioned Percy Pringle. He did do the Percy Pringle character in the WWE briefly when he first came there, and then he switched over to Paul Bearer.
Yeah, because if you watched Old School Raw this week, what they made relatively clear was The Undertaker first came out with Ted DiBiase.
Right.
And then later on, they introduced Paul Bearer as the guy who ran, and then you had the segments of the funeral parlor, and he would do a lot of expressions and say, "Oh, yes," and make a lot of weird faces with really, really goofy-looking makeup by our standards.
Oh, I love Paul Bearer. I thought he was great as I thought he was great as that character.
Look at that mush, man. It was very. He was.
Yeah,
when I used to go to shows, I used to yell at him. I used to call him Lumpy.
Yeah, people call because he's pretty lumpy.
But I'm really sorry to hear his passing. Do you have a family?
He had a wife, and I don't know if he had any children or not. I mean, but yeah, I know he had a wife. I know he was married at one point.
Our condolences go out to the wife and any members of the family who may be out there. Moving on, someone who is still wrestling but who is having trouble is Rey Mysterio. He's got knee problems.
Well, he already had one bad knee. He injured his good knee a couple weeks ago. He's now wearing a brace that he's been given to avoid future damage to the knee. He talked to Triple H about it, and Triple H sent him to Dr. James Andrews, who's like the guru as far as surgeries are concerned. And Andrews told him, you don't need surgery, but you need to put on the special brace. And so we're at this point right now where Mysterio's not being seen a lot lately because he's been dealing with this ongoing family issue, which no one wants to talk about. But chances are we are probably, I mean, we're going to talk about the fact that The Undertaker's probably done after WrestleMania. Yeah. I think that 2013 will probably be the end of the in-ring career of Rey Mysterio, but he'll get a job at WWE because supposedly he's been very well regarded by Triple H and people backstage, so he'll end up being a road agent, like Dean Malenko and Road Dogg. All those guys have become road agents.
What's the family problem?
They won't say. we know he's married. We know he's got a son. We know he's got a daughter. They won't talk about it, but that's why he's been disappearing off and on. He shows up, then he's gone, then he shows up, then he's gone. So it could be some health problems with his wife. We don't know, but it's something they don't want to talk about.
We never did find out with Eddie Guerrero who was the real pappy.
Well.
Meanwhile, Hulk Hogan, over on the other side of the fence, is working on a new reality show based on, of all things, his restaurant. He owns a restaurant?
He owns a new restaurant called, I think it's called...
Pasta Mania?
No, I think it's called Hogan's Alley or something. It's in Florida. Alley. It's on the beach. It's doing relatively well. And he's working on a new reality show which will probably focus on his life as in working in the restaurant, because his wrestling career, as far as ring stuff is concerned, is more or less over.
Well, he can't move hard.
He can't move hard. He has the back surgery. He's suing the Laser Spine Institute.
Yeah.
He can't take any bumps. I mean, he wants to wrestle a couple of times because there are a lot of promotions out there overseas that are more than willing to pay him a lot of money to wrestle, but he can't do it because he can't take any bumps whatsoever.
Right.
Now, he's not the only guy doing a reality show. Country Music Television, CMT,
they
already renewed for the third season. Yes, right, 3 seasons, Steve Austin's Redneck Island. 3rd year in a row. And they also said they're doing a pilot right now called Steve Austin's Broken Skull Ranch, which will have 6 contestants show up at the ranch. That's the name of his ranch. That's his ranch. They'll show up at his ranch and
get their skulls broken.
And they'll be going through some competitions, and he'll pick the toughest one. And at this point, we assume when we get to the Broken Skull Ranch that there'll be an actual house here, because for the long part, when people talk about Austin's ranch, his ranch was like a very large area of land which is surrounded by these giant trailers and no actual house.
Yeah.
He just lived on it, but he's actually built a house in that spot now. So if you talk about a guy who makes a lot of money not wrestling, Austin's making money hand over fist by not wrestling. He's got reality shows. He's got crappy direct-to-video movies. Yeah. He's doing commercials. He's all over the place. And he wasn't on Old School Raw, which I thought was kind of weird.
On the show, when you show up at the Broken Skull Ranch, he shakes your hand and he hits you over the head with a crowbar. There you go. Next.
Welcome to Broken Skull.
Oh, yeah, boy.
Next. Hey, how you doing? Next. Meanwhile, we were talking about food before with Hogan's Restaurant. Here in the city of Chicago, the wonderful city of Chicago, Tara from TNA has opened
She's opened up a pizza place.
Pizza place here in Chicago.
Circle Pizza Restaurant. It officially opens on Thursday, March the 14th.
What's it called?
It's called the Squared Circle.
Squared Circle.
It's going to open the same day because TNA is going to be doing their first live Impact here in Chicago at the Sears Center. We're taping this on Saturday on the 14th, and her restaurant opens at the same time. The restaurant's going to serve house-grown burgers.
Square pizzas.
Square brick oven-style pizzas. Going to have a full bar. Her husband will be running the place. Will be doing the day-to-day stuff and cooking it. If you want to see pay-per-views, they're going to host pay-per-views. The place is going to be surrounded by wrestling memorabilia. And when she's not working, Lisa Marie Varon, she will be in the restaurant working.
Where's it at?
It's on Lincoln Park. It's replaced a rib place, which I think is called some rib places right close to the zoo.
Oh, up by Lincoln Park Zoo.
Up by Lincoln Park Zoo.
Okay. So it's up near Lincoln Park Zoo.
So
if you live up around Lincoln Park Zoo and you know a rib place that's gone out of business, there's a pizza place opening up there. So stop by and say hi to her.
Don't order the elephant burgers.
No elephant burgers.
And even though they're fresh.
No. They're fresh too.
And that's it. We're done. We're finished out here. We got no more Brawlin' News. But go to the store's website. Check out all this
pizza.
Check out all this man's Brawlin' News that he sends me and I post up. Hey,
yes.
Elephant Head.
Yes. What?
Where do people go to find a website?
They go to the World Wide Web, and Sarah, who's also likes pizza, tell them where it is.
Sarah's lactose intolerant.
Alright, Queen of Redundancy here. www.myalternatereality.com.
So go to the store's website, check out all of his news. Until next time, this is Comic Book Man.
And I really want some pizza right now. I'm going to get some pizza. I got to go.
And that's, I really want some pizza right now.
I really need some pizza.
Saying,
pepperoni!
bye!
Sausage!
The Video Outhouse is brought to you by some of the finest people willing to work for free. This is a list of some of them.